basically claiming that you're a terrorist if you don't support his deal, or that you're stupid, ignorant. But I will say this is dangerous, going into a deal this important with Americans so opposed to that deal.
And you know what doesn't help? Quotes like ones you have in the New York Times this morning from the supreme leader of Iran, Ayatollah Khamenei, who said about Israel, "I'm telling you first, you will not be around in 25 years' time. God willing, there will be no Zionist regime in 25 years."
There is that.
When people see and hear those things, they say, that's the regime we're negotiating with. Now, President Obama has the votes in the Senate. This may not matter. That's the kind of rhetoric Americans are hearing and worrying about.
And that's the sort of rhetoric that Israel has been hearing from for years, where the president of Iran or the supreme leader of Iran, they've consistently told their people in the world that they were going to wipe Israel off the face of the earth. At the same time, they're developing a nuclear program. And for some reason, those of us in the West, those of us in Europe, those of us in America sit back and we're smug. No, they don't believe that. I've always said it. It's so absolutely preposterous how hypocritical we Americans are. If we withstood the threats from nations around us that Israel withstands, we would have wiped them all out by now. Mexico City would have had like Dairy Queens on every corner and Six Flags over Mexico City. If they had threatened to wipe America off the face of the earth, if they had been as hostile to us as Iran has been to Israel, the United States of America would be in there. I'm sorry. That's just who we are. We are. We don't put up with crap from other countries that threaten us existentially.
So we should be in there? I'm sorry,
no,
what
Mika,
are you saying?
No, we shouldn't be
what
in there.
What are the viable
because
options?
Mexico City, nobody from Mexico...
Israel face.
Yes, stay with me. Nobody in Mexico has threatened to wipe us off the face of the earth. But we sit here smugly saying, oh, what's Israel worried about? How dare they come to the United States and complain about a deal with a country that continues, even as Willie said yesterday, to promise that they would wipe Israel off the face of the earth. At the same time, the very country that's supposed to protect them is doing a deal, as they see, with the devil.
And I think one place where the White House has been misguided is that calling everyone who opposes the deal somehow it's only because of their support from Jewish supporters, assuming that there is no policy or moral reason for seeing what you just described, that you must merely be making a political calculation. It's insulting to senators like Chuck Schumer. It's insulting to people like
that's always been the dog whistle, hasn't it? Hasn't it? It's the Jewish lobby.
But there are no referees.
You people kowtow to the Jewish. Right. It's always been the dog whistle from the left. That if you can, you can't, if you're Chuck Schumer, sincerely be concerned about the safety and the future existence of Israel.
Yeah.
That's always been the dog whistle. Oh, you're just listening to the Jewish lobby. Why don't you just say international bankers? Why don't you guys just talk about international bankers and, the protocols of Zion? It's sick and it's repulsive and it's a smear and it continues. And the President of the United States only makes it worse by saying that you have to be ignorant or else in bed with Iranian radicals if you oppose my deal. And then you have thoughtful senators like Angus Keene coming out saying this was the single hardest decision I've ever made in my life. I've heard that from so many Democrats who say, Cory Booker. And they all say, this is the single hardest decision I've ever made in my life. And for some reason, with a lot of left-wingers in America and Europe, this is the one issue where you're not allowed to be reasonable, where reasonable people can differ. You're either against Israel and for this deal, or the Jewish lobby has paid you off, and you're scared of these Jews lurking behind crevices in international banks. It's sickening, and it's bigotry, and it should be called out. Who dares suggest that Chuck Schumer is doing this?
Oh my God. Okay, that's like the fourth time. We get the point.
No, you don't. No, you don't get the point. Seriously. You're the last person on the face of the earth that appears to get the point.
Are you kidding me? Go to the rally. Why didn't you go to the rally yesterday?
Because every time somebody comes,
there were lots of reasonable people there making a lot of sense. okay? And it's not like the Republican Party has been reasonable every step of the way as this deal was being put together.
I haven't said they were.
In fact, they've been horrific. In fact, they've been worse. And a lot of people saying this is the hardest decision they've ever had to make. Is a very reasonable way of deciding whether to go for or against the deal, because this deal is not easy. But you tell me what other viable options there are.
The president said it easy. You're missing my whole point. The president said this is the
point,
easiest.
It is easy,
No,
yes.
The president has said all along this is the easiest decision anybody can make. And if you go to the American University speech, and he says that if you're not for this deal, then you're ignorant or you're in bed with the Iranian hardliners. It is offensive.
And the bill, listen, I don't completely disagree with everything you just said, but there is a bipartisan bill in the Senate, the Corker-Cardin bill, required an up or down vote, and the White House is now calling for a filibuster of the gravest sort of foreign policy debate that we've seen probably since the surge.
We do realize there are 5 other countries that have approved this deal.
Who worked for months on this.
Yeah, and we do,
at the table.
and we do realize we're the indispensable power that dragged those other 5 there and basically ran the negotiations.
And we weaken the whole coalition
from the very beginning.
Let our Congress weigh in. So we're going to filibuster it, and our Congress doesn't vote on it. Does that strengthen the 6 countries or weaken them?
You mean Russia, China, Great Britain, France, they caved to us?
Yeah.
No, but I think that if we go in there and we've let the Congress vote up or down, what the White House and Harry Reid are saying now is they're going to filibuster the deal and forbid an up or down vote on the Iran deal. That doesn't strengthen the voice of the coalition. It weakens it. It becomes completely political in America. If you let an up or down vote happen in the Congress, and at least the American people have spoken on the world stage.
And it only makes those numbers even worse. It turns the American public.
Do we have foreign policy now by poll, or let's vote on it? Let's vote on this deal.
Or
let's look at the Gallup poll to see whether we agree with this deal or not.
If you want to look at the polls, a majority oppose it. So I don't think the White House wants to do that.
Well, that's what I mean, because a majority of people polled oppose it. We should say, okay, we're out of it.
Well, then why have a Congress?
We can't get people to read a
people
newspaper.
Vote for their representatives.
We've got a guy in the White House who had this idea back in 2007 that he was going to deal with Iran unilaterally if he were ever elected president, no matter how badly they acted. And he has done this all on his own. You know, Mike, some of us believe we have a democracy. Some of us believe that what people think really matters. Some of us believe what Congress thinks really matters. And the fact is, you've got the overwhelming majority of Americans against this. You've got the majority of Congress against this.
Let's scrap it.
And you all are saying, oh, well, let's just do it because Barack Obama likes it.
No, let's scrap it because Ted Cruz hates it. And Glenn Beck.
So does Chuck Schumer.
So does Chuck Schumer and a lot of other people. You're turning into a cartoon character before our very eyes?
Chuck Schumer did what he had to do, and it's perfect.
See, there you go. There's the cynicism I talked about. Chuck Schumer could never
there on the Republican
Chuck Schumer could never, ever believe in his heart, according to you, that actually Israel faces an existential threat from Iran, and this only makes it worse.
Chuck Schumer is not holding rallies begging everybody to go along with him.
But you just said Chuck Schumer had to do what he had to do. Why did Chuck Schumer have to do what he had to do? What, because he's a Jew? Because there are a lot of Jews in New York? Why? You just say Chuck Schumer did what he believed was right.
I believe that. I believe
that. You believe that.
I believe that. I think she does.
She didn't say that. Chuck Schumer did what he had to do.
I think he did what he believes is right.
Oh, okay, very good. I can live with that.
Why don't we
That's a good change.
We blew through all this news to hear this diatribe on why the Republicans at that rally had such a good point. Good for you. I get it.
No, you
understand
really.
that you have your point of view.
I'm not that stupid. You can't twist things around. You can't try to tie Donald Trump and Ted Cruz and Sarah Palin around me. I'll stick with Chuck Schumer and a lot of foreign policy people who've said this idea was bad from the start.
Okay, I'm just glad it's going through.